Which one is the best Shopify theme in 2022? Together with our good friends at StoreTasker, we wanted to find out exactly that. So over the last week, we interviewed various experts, developers, agency owners from our network and from StoreTasker's awesome freelancing platform, link in the description. And to our surprise, we actually found out way more than we expected. So if you listen to this, you will not only discover which one was the most upvoted theme, but you will also learn what makes a theme great from a merchant's perspective, like what to pay attention to when picking a good theme. And you will also learn what makes other developers want to use your theme, which is a very interesting angle if you want to build themes yourself and then potentially sell them on the theme store. So here's what we discovered. All right, Patrick, I'm super excited that you're here today. And yeah, I actually can't believe that we didn't do this earlier. So would you like to introduce yourself really quick?
Thank you, Jan, for the invite. My name is Patrick. I'm the founder of the agency eShop Guide. We are the fastest growing agency in Germany, 2 million in revenue, 35 people. It's crazy people. And we love Shopify, and I'm happy to talk about the themes.
That's awesome. Okay, maybe before we get there, would you also like to share one or two sentences about the clients that you typically work with? Is this like smaller businesses, larger businesses? Yeah, just...
Yes, so we usually work with existing businesses that migrate to Shopify on WooCommerce, Shopware, or whatever, or with businesses who come traditionally from a B2B space and who are dipping their toes into the D2C world and just need their first shop. Rarely we work with real startups, because that's usually, for them, it doesn't make sense to work with an established agency because of the pricing.
Okay, that's great. And yeah, as you know, today we wanted to talk about themes. So you also do quite a few store setups per month. So the question would be, do you guys have a favorite theme?
Yes. So there are trends. It's actually quite funny, from Turbo to Prestige, but now our favorite theme is Impulse from Archetype. The story behind Archetype is that are people who used to work for Shopify actually, and they really build the themes that you want them to build. They're just awesome, and they have good support. They're rather fast in terms of performance. The themes, they have a lot of features, and they're usually like right on top of the technological curve. What's possible with themes. However, at the moment, because you're probably aware of that, Shopify 2.0 came out, and with that, Shopify released a new standard theme, Dawn, which really breaks records in terms of performance and speed. And we don't see those numbers yet with the paid themes, also not with Impulse.
Okay, so yeah, let me just wrap this up. So you basically have two favorite themes, let's say. Impulse as a paid theme, Dawn as a free theme. Yeah, since we have a long friendship, you can have two votes.
I mean, Impulse, if you don't have coding capabilities, use Impulse. If you do have coding capabilities and can customize the theme a little bit, then you can use Dawn.
Okay, that's great. And yeah, my follow-up question would have been why in particular? So you said, okay, Dawn in terms of page speed, Impulse in terms of aesthetics, features, and everything. And yeah, because they think about what merchants need, what developers need. Okay, I think that's a great perspective. Yeah, Patrick, thanks so much for joining today. And yeah, we see each other very soon, I guess.
Thank you for the opportunity. See ya.
All right, Jay, then thanks so much for taking the time today. Would you like to introduce yourself a bit?
Yeah, my name is Jay. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I originally went to school for accounting and philosophy, but got bored out of my mind with the accounting, so started building websites in my free time.
Nice.
Been about a decade since, so I've been building websites ever since. Built around 500 plus Shopify stores, websites, not just exclusively Shopify, other CMSs as well, actually. But around 500 plus stores, helped companies do about 100 million in online sales. I've done a lot with the Shopify ecosystem in particular. I've been a speaker on their blog, been a guest speaker at Amazon. So really just lived and breathed in e-commerce the past decade. I describe myself as a boutique agency. So I have a small team. It's me and 7 other people full time. So we have a small crew. And we do everything from store design development, SEO, ad campaigns, really just kind of e-commerce full stack. So set up landing pages, help them convert, drive more traffic to them, help them retain and upsell existing customers, all that fun stuff. So
okay, yeah, sounds very impressive. Awesome. Okay, so this is like a full service marketing agency, or not only marketing, e-commerce in general, you said. 500 plus websites, that's awesome. Do you usually like build custom sites from scratch, or do you use any pre-built themes and then customize from there?
Yeah, good question. I would say this is probably one of the single biggest questions or concerns that come up when I talk to a new client. It's like, what theme are we going to use? What theme are we going to use? My preference is to keep it pretty simple and bare bones and use the Shopify native ones. So previously that was Debut. Now that's Dawn 2.0. I like to just keep it as minimal bloat as possible. And then typically my process is to come up with a design concept for desktop and mobile, do that in like Photoshop, Figma, XD files, confirm that, and then build off the base template of lately it's Dawn 2.0. Previously it was Debut.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a great choice, especially, or we can actually talk about that.
Sure.
So why would you say is the Dawn theme, or why is it great in particular? Do you have any preference? So why not use any premium theme? Or yeah, you can just let me know what you think.
It's because I'm apprehensive to pick other third-party themes just because you want long-term congruence. So it's something that's safe and secure of like, hey, if this is the built by Shopify and recommended and like de facto one that they provide, it's pretty sound infrastructure to build on top of. You definitely don't want like choose a really indie theme and then have them disappear or just not compile with updates. So that's part of like the framework of thinking about long-term viability with it. And then I think it just comes with a lot of minimal bloat. So it comes with all the main core features and upgrades that you would want that Shopify is offering and providing, but without having a lot of extra bells and whistles that can negatively impact your speed, just might not be necessary. So I try to keep it very minimal where possible and just remove bloat whenever we can.
Okay, so you said site speed is a concern, keep it as lean as possible, and long-term maintenance by the vendor or by the creator, which is Shopify, namely. Exactly. Okay, that's good reasons. Would you also say Dawn is a good general purpose theme, or do you have like different theme preferences for different niches and verticals? How about
Not
that?
really, especially now. Yeah, I mean, just seeing like what websites convert. We do a decent amount with CRO and things like that. Like it is pretty well set up outside of the box that you don't have to do a lot of customization. Having like the meta fields and things like that is nice as well. But we still, it ultimately is a case-by-case basis. So, I mean, we've worked with tons of different products and services all across the board. And as you work through and with those entrepreneurs, like one-on-one, get to know their business, like we do try to provide a custom experience. And so sometimes we will modify that just to really facilitate that. But by and large, you kind of have the same general mold or concept that you're working through.
Okay, cool, Jay. That was awesome. Thanks so much for your opinion. And yeah, do you got any last words you want to share with the audience?
No, thanks for your time as well. Just really huge fan of Shopify. It's a really solid ecosystem and a good place to place your chips for the long run. And thanks for having me today. Once again, my name is Jay with Lantern Soul, lanternsoul.com. Happy to have a conversation anytime.
Okay, hey Tyler. Yeah, some of you may already know you from the channel from previous videos, but would you like to introduce yourself really quick?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Taylor Page. I am a freelance web developer and Shopify expert, and I am based currently out of Springfield, Missouri area, though I'm mid-process of moving to be closer to family in Ohio. So I help merchants and also marketing and SEO agencies as a web developer. So primarily with custom theme development is usually how I term that. So if people need design or functionality built into a theme, and then also obviously just integrating an app or even things with store configuration and settings, those are all just a couple of things that I do.
Okay, that's awesome. And what would you say is like your typical client? Is there one specific or all across the board? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's kind of across the board because I have one very large client that I work with on a regular basis that has multiple brands. But I also sometimes work with folks just starting off or helping people migrate from something like WooCommerce. So they might be on a much smaller plan, like something like even the basic or standard plan compared to somebody. I have probably 5+ clients, but then in between that is some different folks from there.
Okay, perfect. And okay, you also mentioned that you oftentimes build custom themes or you do migrations, pretty much everything. Yeah, everything from setups, I guess, to customizations and optimizations. And today's video topic is regarding your favorite theme. So yeah, do you have a favorite theme that you oftentimes use?
Yeah, I mean, well, so it does depend. I know we've talked about that kind of by the merchant. What I will do is I'll make recommendations, and I always make recommendations for archetype themes. I think they do an excellent job across the board. So one of my favorites out of theirs that they do is Impulse theme.
Mm-hmm. That's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, yeah, we can't just leave it in the room like that. So why is that in particular? Is there anything special about this theme or anything you like in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really well suited from anything from medium to large size merchants. So they cover a lot of ground with a lot of the functionality that they have. And it's just really well designed. So they implement a lot of like really good things, like some subtle animations, things that are normally, kind of hard to do, like implementing like site-wide if somebody wants something like that. It just kind of comes in out of the box. They also do some really nice things like they have a really good option for like filtering right out of the box as well, even before we had like the manual option too, right? Yeah. And so they do a lot of those things really, really well. And then obviously from my side of things as well, I think they nail documentation, like they knock it out of the park too. So both for merchants and then for developers, a lot of folks, that is something that uncommon that they do that a lot of other theme providers don't do, is they even have documentation for things like JavaScript events for developers. So if you're having to build in something like listening for when a variant changes or something's added to the cart, rather than having to build your own or go through the theme and figure it out, they have just documentation that makes it way easier to implement.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a great angle. We've also talked about this during the Theme Accelerator program, which was for like building themes and then how important it is to document your theme for merchants and developers. Yep. So yeah, thanks for your take on that. I think that's great advice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hi Robin. Awesome that you took the time today. Would you like to introduce yourself a bit?
Yeah, first of all, Jan, happy to be here and to have this opportunity. And of course, yeah, I want to introduce myself. My name is Robin. I'm a freelancer, Shopify focused, and working at Shopify or for Shopify merchants around 2 years now, 3 years. Yeah, around 3 years now. And since the beginning of this year, I have started to employ my first full-time employee and one part-time employee, and we work for several merchants and help them grow in Shopify.
Awesome. So yeah, right now, I mean, since we're friends, I know that you're starting your own agency right now, so things are looking good. And would you also like to share a bit about like what types of clients you usually work with? Is this like smaller startups, enterprise companies, a bit of both? Yeah, you can let me know.
In Germany, we would say straight through the bank.
Yeah.
So we help little merchants who just started right now on Shopify and started to sell their first products. And we also help bigger companies, so-called, how's it called in Germany? We say mid-level companies or something like that. So not big ones, the really big ones, but the average companies, successful companies.
Yeah, small and medium-sized businesses.
Yeah, small and medium-sized businesses, right? Yeah, on point.
Okay,
and cool. We help them building Shopify apps. We help them building Shopify themes, adjustments in their themes, and we also build custom software solutions for their production systems. If they have a production internally for customized products, that's something we do.
Okay, that's great. And now that you mentioned themes, like, this is also like the topic of our video today. So do you have a favorite theme when doing these store setups, for example?
Definitely. For setup projects, it depends. If we have a customer who a merchant who starts with Shopify, we prefer to use the Dawn theme since it's OS 2.0 already. It has a very, very understandable code structure for developers. So if you want to start on something that is highly adjustable and easy to understand, Dawn theme is definitely the way to go. And if the merchant is able to invest a little bit more money, then nothing. We the theme, which is one of the more functional
themes in the store, and also more or less easy to adjust on code-wise. It's not as easy as the Dawn theme, since the Dawn split up all the functionality in different components and sections. And the Prestige has, for example, one big JS file where you have to find all the functionalities and make adjustments to, but it's more easy than other themes out there.
Okay, yeah, so to wrap this up, so you said as a free theme, it would be the Dawn theme for performance and maintenance or customizability, if that's a word. And then as a paid theme, it would be Prestige for maybe the default aesthetics. And yeah, it's also extendable, but not as easy as you would think, or as it is with the Dawn theme, let's say. Yeah,
absolutely. But the Prestige theme already comes in with so many functionalities that it's most time not necessary to update it on code.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, Prestige is also one of my favorite themes. That's awesome. Nice. Okay, yeah, Robin, then thanks so much for taking the time today. I think these were great insights, and yeah, we're going to see each other very soon. I'm sure of that.
Yeah. You're welcome. See you.
All right, Brent, then thanks so much for joining today. Yeah, we've just talked about how we already have a well-established report in text form, so it's awesome to finally meet you in person. And would you like to introduce yourself a bit to the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Brent, and I run the agency Only Growth. We're a Shopify Plus agency who focuses on conversion rate optimization through UX changes, building out tech stacks for brands, as well as custom development. Basically, we try to use proven growth strategies to help grow brands and drive more revenue for them. And our main clientele is anyone who kind of is driving between 5 million a year in revenue to all the way up to about 15 million a year in revenue. So yeah, that's kind of a high level overview of what we do at Only Growth.
Wow, that's very impressive. So you only work with enterprise clients, or?
Yeah, for the most part. So enterprise clients or people who are showing like basically a lot of growth very rapidly, that's kind of who our top client is. That being said, if you're someone who's reaching out and you're maybe not quite at that point, we're always happy to help kind of direct you in the right spot, where to look. We've been around the space for 7 years, which, in the long scheme of things, it's not a long time, but in Shopify, that's almost since the beginning of when it started to kind of take off. So we do have a lot of knowledge, and we're always happy to help. Our main goal is to, get any brand some sort of growth. So yeah, our main focus, enterprise brands, but anyone's welcome to reach out, and we're always happy to kind of help guide them in the right direction.
Okay, that's awesome. And yeah, as you know, today we kind of wanted to talk about themes and maybe your favorite theme. Now that you mentioned enterprise clients, is using themes even a thing that you still do, or do you only build custom themes? Yeah, you can let me know. Do you have a favorite theme?
Yeah, so for my agency, we actually still focus on using the Shopify theme as the base. So what we always kind of say is we want to start with one of the premium themes from the Shopify store, and that will get us about 70% of the way there. There's never going to be a theme that kind of has, 100% of the features right out of the box. We find that's a really good base to start with, because when you start doing fully custom themes, when you start integrating different apps and different solutions, it can become kind of messy. And then you're really, let's say we build a theme for someone and we all of a sudden, run into a couple of issues, and we need to reach out to an app developer or someone to kind of help solve it. And then if it's not the standard kind of process a lot of Shopify stores set up, it just can become a little bit messier. So we still do like to use, a premium theme as the base, and we just kind of build on top of that. And then to answer your question about the favorite theme, so we kind of, depending on what new theme developers are bringing out and what they're kind of offering, we kind of switch between a couple different theme developers for kind of like who our favorite one to go with. Right now, we're using the theme called Expanse, and it's by Archetype Themes, and that's kind of like our go-to right now for a lot of our brands that we're working with.
Okay, and why is that? Why is that in particular? Is there anything special about the theme or anything you would like to highlight?
Yeah, so there's a lot I can highlight. I could probably bore you with all the things that we do like about it, but I'll kind of run you through like my top 5 reasons why we do like it. One of the main things, like I kind of said, is the theme developer. So we've been in the space long enough where we have like a pretty good idea of like, who's been building themes for a while and who has, a really good rap for, good support, quick to get back to you when you have questions and ideas, and that's our idea. And they're really good. So Archetype Themes, who is the theme builder of Expanse, we've been working with them and their themes for a while. They're great to, bounce questions off of. They're great to have just like any sort of conversation around the theme, as well as just, we know that we're getting a really good product from them. They've just built so many themes and perfected their themes over the last, 4 or 5 years that we know that we're kind of getting a solid product with them. That being said, there's obviously a lot of new theme developers who are coming into the store. Just recently, they opened it up to more submissions, and we're not trying to take anything away from them. It's just more, we're not as familiar with them at this point. So it's just kind of, we like to go with someone that we know builds really good themes and they can always be trusted. The other thing that we really like about this theme is it's very versatile. So it's geared towards having a medium to large inventory, and it does like a really good job with catalogs that are relatively large. But we have built a few stores that have like 15 or less SKUs on them, and you can still have a lot of flexibility. So we find that you can really cover any size of catalog with that theme, where some do really focus on really large categories, and if you have like a small amount of SKUs, they don't really gel really well, and vice versa. We find there's some themes out there that work great for small amount of SKUs, but not so great with the large amount of SKUs. So that's also like a really good feature we like about it. As well as you kind of heard me talk about earlier, we kind of like to have the idea that a theme will get you 70% of the way there. And when we kind of say that, we mean we want to look at the big stuff. Like when you're coming in and doing theme customizations, you don't want to be touching like the navigation. You don't want to be touching maybe like the card as much. You want to just be like doing like little tweaks here and there. And we find with the Expanse theme, they cover all the big things. So, we have a really good navigation, like a really good mega menu to start with. They have a drawer cart, which we really like to use with all of our brands. Give you a lot of opportunity to have, like cross sells and upsells in your cart, as well as just adding more information in there. And they just kind of do a lot of like, there's a lot of good with like sub collections and the ability to kind of do collection lists. Everything's kind of just nice and aesthetically pleasing around those kind of like big features. And then as well as like with the big features, they do all the little things right. So with some of the small features on the store, those are the things where you're not maybe thinking about when you're buying the theme. You're kind of looking at the big stuff. And then we find a lot of brands that get into the theme and they're like, oh, like I want to add an extra button here, or I wish my announcement bar had the ability to have, 2 scrolling messages, or, all those little things. And we find that Expanse actually includes a lot of that. And it's one of those, you get in there, you can add just some different like custom form fields to your contact us page, like just like really small things that typically a developer would need to come in to do. You can kind of take care of yourself. So we find there's like a lot of flexibility there. And then just kind of my last point is just like overall aesthetics and like the mobile friendliness. So obviously, I'm sure you and your audience know that, anywhere between 70 to 80% of traffic comes from mobile nowadays. So to have a theme like out of the box that has a really good mobile friendly view with like, easy to use navigation, the ability to put like 2x2 grids, so you're not necessarily stacking everything on top and causing a lot of scrolling. All those types of little features as well is really well done. And we just find, like I said, kind of out of the box, there's a lot of good stuff, and we're able to utilize a lot of it without having to add like custom work to kind of finish the rest of it.
Okay, that's awesome. I think this was some great input. So yeah, let me just quickly wrap this up. So it would be archetype themes. Actually, they received a lot of good feedback on the series already. And you said, okay, great for medium to large size catalogs, mobile responsiveness, the code. Yeah, the heavy code features or extensive code features, however you want to call them, AJAX card, mega menu are fine already. And yeah, it gets you 70% away there. So yeah, I think that's an amazing theme. And yeah, thanks so much for the perspective.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks so much for listening to me talk about my favorite theme.
Hi, Ham. Awesome that you took the time today. So would you like to introduce yourself a bit to the audience?
All right, sure. Hi, Anne, and hi, everyone. I'm Yap. So people call me Ham. I am a Shopify ninja. I build killer stores. Though kidding aside, I'm an IT corporate dropout, turned full-time freelancer. So because after 8 years of doing corporate, I realized that being a corporate employee is not scalable. I'm also a self-taught web developer, and right now I'm currently handling Shopify Plus account. So one of my longest clients actually is making $50,000 per month in revenue organic.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also know that you're you're also actively in a freelance community. Is that something you
Yes.
quickly want to touch on? Yeah.
Yes, I am. So I am part of, I believe it's the largest freelancing community in the Philippines. I think, well, for me, I love it so much. So yeah, I'm part of freelance, like the best freelance community in the Philippines, and I'm a tribe leader there. So if you're interested, if you're in the Philippines, join us.
Okay, I'm sure we can get you in touch there.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. And yes, you mentioned Shopify Plus clients, for example, but you also work with like smaller startups or smaller
Yeah, of
merchants.
course. Yes. Like especially in the Philippines, mostly they're like startups because they're in the Philippines, they're only transitioning to like digital. So yes, mostly startup in the Philippines.
Okay, cool. And yeah, as you know, today we wanted to talk about Shopify themes. So
Yes.
tell me, like, what's the favorite or what's the best Shopify themes in general?
For me personally, I haven't actually gotten an experience with a lot, like tons of themes, but with my experience, my favorite is actually Dawn.
Mhm.
So the reason for that is because Dawn is very clean. It's well optimized, so which makes it fast.
Yes.
All the sections are made by components. Well, of course, it's already an online store 2.0. Um, so yeah, it's highly customizable for me. I think like for Shopify developers, like using the very basic and free theme is the best theme to use to customize. That's my personal point of view.
Okay, sounds good. So you said, okay, so first of all, because it's free and that's like ideal for startups as well. And
Yes.
if you need to bootstrap things, obviously. And then, okay, performance is a big one, customizability and super clean code, which makes life as a developer a bit easier. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. I think that's a great perspective. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope to have you back on the channel one day very soon.
Yes, of course. Thank you as well, Yan. It's an honor because I'm a follower of your video channel, YouTube channel. So thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Awesome. All right, Stuart, awesome to meet you. Yeah, would you like to introduce yourself a bit to the audience?
Hi, Jan. Thanks. Nice to meet you as well. I'm an independent web developer and a Shopify partner. I work on client stores through StoreTasker, and I help them customize their stores and make their sort of visions for the front end of the store come to life, essentially.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And like what kind of clients do you work with, if I may ask? Is this rather startups? Is this people in a specific country? Or yeah, you can just let me know.
It's interestingly, it's a range of clients from across the globe. I mean, they ask for a range of different tasks, really. I mean, some of them want sort of custom sections built for their theme. Some of them prefer to integrate an app and they want the app to work a certain way with the theme. Others have a vision for some styling they want to do, anything like that. And in terms of size, it can be an independent founder running on their own, an independent merchant. It can be quite a large organization. It can vary quite a lot, to be honest. So it's interesting to see the spectrum.
Okay, that's awesome. So all across the board, all over the globe, basically.
Absolutely. I don't discriminate.
That's awesome. And okay, so as you know, today we wanted to talk about different themes. So yeah, Stuart, let me know. Do you have a favorite theme?
I do indeed. So I would recommend archetype themes broadly. I really like their themes. I like the features they offer. The prices are good. Specifically, I like the motion theme. In minimal, it looks really good. It looks really clean and simple. They also have Impulse. They also have one called Expanse, which in the modern style is really nice as well. There's a few reasons why. Like I said, they cover all the bases. I mean, they're fast, they're a good price. They include all the features that you would expect in terms of sliders, featured collections and products. And obviously now with OS 2.0, Online Store 2.0, they're very customizable in terms of what building blocks you want to fit in where. So that's really good as well. And they're up to date with that. In terms of speed, it's good. The lazy loading is there for images, images at high resolution or scaling to the size of the viewport of the screen you're looking at it on. So they're quite well optimized for that as well. Now, my favorite feature about them is a little bit selfish, but not really. I'll explain. What I mean is that they're really developer friendly in a way that most other themes aren't. So when you are requested by a merchant, a store owner, to make a customization on a theme, let's say that they want to cross-sell a product, for example, which, by the way, is a feature of some of these themes. But let's say they want to do it a certain way and they want it custom built for a certain product. And you could have meta fields to link products together, and there are different ways that you could do it. But essentially, you want to cross-sell. Let's say you might be selling a skateboard and you want to sell like spare wheels that go with it as like an accessory product, or maybe there are dresses and there's a handbag that complements the dress, or there's jewelry and there's a necklace and the earrings that go with it in a set, for example. Well, you might want to display that on the same product page, and you can do that. But then with certain themes, you might want to add the second product when the add to cart button is clicked, and have that show up in the AJAX cart, for example, the asynchronous cart that will slide out like a drawer from the side, for example. And with certain themes, there's no way to talk to the code to do that. But with the archetype themes, they have JavaScript events for developers, which are really, really handy because it allows you to both trigger and listen for certain events. So in the case I'm mentioning in this example, you could say cart :build, and that after you've added the product to the cart with the Shopify API, then you can call that. You can trigger that event, and that will fire off to the theme. The theme will listen for it, and it will update the cart, and then you can display the add to cart. So you can make really, really customized experiences that integrate really nicely with a theme without messing with or breaking the theme code in any way. So it's really harmonious and useful in that way, I would say.
Okay, that's so interesting you say that, because just a couple of days ago, I was on an event for developers who are building new themes, and they were asking about like what makes a theme great. And then our advice was basically to not only build for merchants, but also for developers, like great documentation, extensible theme code, these types of things. And yeah, that's exactly what you just mentioned. So yeah, totally on the same page with that.
Absolutely. A lot of clients and store owners, they have their own vision of what they might want it to look like, or a certain section that they want to build in, or anything like that. Or sometimes it's just A/B testing or data driven, or it comes back from their clients that a lot of customers who buy A product also want to buy product B, for example. And so they want to sell them together, and you can just get those next level of customizations if you can integrate more deeply with the theme and the theme code in that way. And it's also possible to do it in a way that doesn't cause breaking changes when the theme needs to be updated, for example. Yeah. So it's just across the board better for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let me wrap this up really quick. So you said archetype themes, and then you mentioned yeah, pretty much all of them. But now, Stuart, if you had to pick one, which one would it be?
I'm gonna say motion minimal.
All right. Okay. Awesome. I think this was great input, great advice. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Jan. Have a great day.
Hi, Dominic. Awesome to meet you. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience a bit?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Dom Taylor. I'm a UK front-end web developer. I've been working with Shopify for the last 4 years, I guess now. Prior to that, I was doing a lot of work in WooCommerce, and I'm coming from a digital marketing background, and then I sort of transitioned more into front-end web development work in the last few years. So I've got a mixture of agency experience and client-side experience. I lived out in Australia for a bit, and I worked for Quicksilver. And then after leaving that job, I decided to go self-employed.
Okay, that's awesome. And yeah. with what type of clients are you typically working with? Is this like startups, enterprise companies, a bit of both?
Yeah, yeah, so it's a bit of both, really. I generally like to work with smaller businesses, but sometimes I do work with larger brands, because larger brands, it's like when you're doing certain activities like digital marketing, then it's a lot easier to say, get to manage their Google Ads campaigns, etc. But yeah, it's a whole broad broad remit of clients that I work with usually. So
okay, yeah, totally understand. And yeah, since today we wanted to talk about themes. So the question would be, do you have a favorite theme out of all of them available?
I do. My favorite theme currently, I mean, this is subject to change, but at the moment it's Dawn 2.0. This is because it's very easy to. It kind of reminds me of Slate and just bare bones, scaffolding of a theme. It's got all the essential elements that you can expect with a Shopify theme. It's very easy to get set up. The fact that it's OS 2.0 compatible, very easy to work with app embeds, sections anywhere, obviously. And for the most part, it does the job very well. It's very performant as well, I find, compared to some of the other themes, even premium themes. It always scores very well on core Web Vitals audits. And it's actively maintained on GitHub. So you can see a lot of collaborative, a lot of, I think there's 36 currently, and currently on version 6. So it's actively maintained. They're always updating the repository. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just to wrap this up. So you said the Dawn theme as one of the free themes, OS 2.0 compatible, heavily maintained or actively maintained, tons of great features, performance, integrates well with other apps. So that summarizes it pretty much, right?
Yeah. And to give you an example, recently I was working with clients redevelopment, and I went with Dawn because they didn't want a whole load of complex functionality. They wanted to tweak little bits, like with the announcement bar, they wanted to show a custom message during office hours and weekdays. So I was able to do that quite easily with, it gives you an announcement bar, it gives you predictive search, and stuff like this. And the ordering is already set, I believe. So product should always feature before page content. But yeah.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
So I think that was a great recommendation. I also like Dawn a lot. And thanks so much for the perspective, and thanks for joining today.
No worries. Okay. Thanks, Dan.
All right, and that wraps it up pretty much. Lastly, I just quickly want to add my 2 cents. So currently, my favorite paid theme is Prestige. There are a ton of great themes out there, and I also really like the ones from Archetype. But if I had to name just one, then it would be this one. Because I think it just looks awesome. It has great features out of the box. And if you were to use a free theme instead, and then hire a developer to build all these features from scratch, it would cost you way more. So that's how the pricing is justified. But if you have to bootstrap things, then Dawn is the way to go. It's also the unbeaten champion in terms of performance. You might just need a developer or some custom coding to extend it. And that's it for this video. So here's one last look at the final results. It really seems that experts like Dawn as a free theme. And in terms of paid themes, we have a draw between Prestige and Impulse. Also, Archetype themes in general, they received a lot of great feedback throughout this video. So there's definitely something to learn from them, and they must be doing things right. Also, let us know your favorite theme in the comments. And if you're a developer looking for work or a merchant looking for help with your store, don't forget to check out StoreTasker, link in the description. And then have an amazing, wonderful rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one.